What's going on, y'all? It's Friday night, 9 or so p.m. EST. Y'all know the place to be, top of the key. All right, so it's your boy Cool McCain. I'm joined tonight by my man, the one, the only, the legend in the game, Con Man. What's going on, Con Man?
Y'all looking for tonight? Let's.
All right, Con Man. We lost you for a second there. What were you saying?
I said, hey, I'm looking forward to tonight. Let's do the damn thing, y'all. Let's do it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And tonight, we got a special recurring feature role gentleman below us in Coach Dante. What's going on, Coach Dante?
Hey, let's go, man. Let's get right into some playoff basketball, man. Very happy, especially like we said, talking about the WNBA is back with preseason. Happy about that more than ever. But playoff basketball, let's get going, man. I'm ready.
All right, Michael, what's going on, man? Good evening to you as well. Appreciate you for hopping in and watching along with us for sure. All right, so gentlemen, we're gonna start in the Eastern Conference. Let's just start with the underdog series here. So we got went blank for a second there. The New York Knicks versus the Miami Heat. So, Con, talk to us, man. Your thoughts on the series. If you have any thoughts about the previous series that these two teams were involved in, and let's get to it. Oh, Con got the froze going on for a minute. All right, so while waiting for Con Man to get to pop back on, Coach Dante, what are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts, we were just elaborating in the series 3 minutes ago. Kind of my thoughts on that. I think Miami's going to win the series in 7 games. I think, with Jimmy Butler showing what he could be, he turns into this all-world Jimmy Butler in the playoffs. Like I said again, I think he's a stud in the regular season. He's going to always give you a great, solid, underrated regular season as well. 22 points at least right up and down there, be it all second team or third team all defensive guy. But in the playoffs, though, this is one of these guys, his game elevates when it matters the most. And when you're a superstar player or a star type player, you have your game not only has to be great in the regular season, but your game has to translate into the NBA playoffs. And that's one of this guy. He gets better in the playoffs. He's a star in the regular season, but he turns into a superstar in the actual playoff. And this guy is tough to deal with. Got to give credit. Like I said, Kyle Lowry, yes, he's stealing money. He's still stealing money. But he gives them toughness on the defensive side of the ball. He's starting to shoot a little bit better. Got guys like Caleb Martin out there competing, dropping you 19 points. You got Bam Adebayo giving you 15 and 10 at least and 5 assists. You got a good core group of guys. Their roster may not jump out to you on paper. They may be the worst roster in the playoffs. But when you have a coach in Eric Spoelstra, who's a multiple-time NBA champion, and you have a GM that loves the game of basketball and breathes, sleeps, and eat toughness and cohesiveness, that would come into play for this Miami Heat team. Outside of Jimmy Butler and Bam, they may not be too talented, but you better believe these guys are going to play hard. They're going to get after you. They're going to play great on-ball defense. And what's killing them is a little bit, they kind of lack a size a little bit. With Hardenstein and with Mitchell Robinson, they give them a lot of problems on the offensive side of the glass. Even Kevin Love out there knocking down 3-point jump shots, giving them some stability at the 3-point line. So I think this team is going to win in series in 7, but it only depends on how bad Jimmy Butler ankle is. If his ankle is really bad, which I think he will be back in game 3, and he's not the same, then hey, the New York Knicks can run off with the series. But if he plays anything like 90% of himself, I think Miami can win the series in 7 games. But either way it goes, it's going to be a long series, and I think he can go 7 games.
All right, Con man. See, we got everything straightened out over there. What are your thoughts, sir?
Well, I kind of agree with Coach. I kind of like Miami as well. I mean, losing here, of course, it's a big factor because you're missing that perimeter shooting as well. My only thing with Miami is it seems that Bam Adebayo, he's like inconsistent. I would like more consistency from him, especially with the fact that they didn't have playoff Jim and didn't have Hill the last game. I think if he plays up to a caliber, I think Miami's going to give him the effort. They also got that floor experience with Kyle Lowry. He's been there, done that. He's already done the damn thing. I think he's going to play a little bit better as well. I would think that Miami would not want to go back and face New York in like a game 7. I think that might be a problem. So I think they're going to have to do it and do it now. Watching Jimmy play off today, he looked really well. I mean, it's only, shooting drills, but it seemed like he was going really well off his ankle. It seemed like he's going to play. He's going to be effective, and we know what he can do. I'm going to go with Coach. I'm going to lean towards Miami as well. But I'm going 6. I'm going Miami in 6.
I can respect that. I'm gonna go the other way on y'all. Right? Because I think when you get Julius Randle back healthy, he's a guy who every other year he's a really great player, and then every other year he's not. So this is the really great player year for Julius Randle. I think we've got Barrett has stepped up a lot. He's giving you some of what you anticipated when you drafted him, but I think it's 7 either way, right? I'm gonna lean toward New York because they have the home court, but I'm confident that it's gonna be a 7-game series, and I wouldn't be surprised either way what happens with it. A lot of great points you guys both made. Definitely some of the things I was going to discuss, but it's all good. I just want to add, it's exciting to see these two teams be deeper in the playoff because this is a good rivalry. It's two franchises that people follow, that people like, that people love, that they want to see. Strong fan bases. A lot does depend on Jimmy Butler being able to play the type of minutes he was playing before with the injury and being able to be effective the entire time. So I'm thinking it's going to be at least a little bit of a drop off with that, which is why I'm going in 7 with the Knicks. But like I said, it's one of those. This is like 51-49 for me.
Right.
So it's real close. So I wouldn't be surprised if things swung the other way. So NBA Cypher says, "What's good, everybody?"
What's good?
He also says, "If it goes 7, give me playoff Jimmy." And then here goes Key with there's 3 C's. Cool, Coach, and Con. What's up, guys? What up, Key? And then John is jumping ahead. But I'm going to go ahead and read it, but we're going to get to that, John. John says, after seeing game last night, did you see anything Lakers done, anything different other than could throw a beach ball in the ocean? Jesus couldn't buy a basket last night. So, hey, we going to get to them, John. Just hold on with us. We are definitely going to discuss that series and specifically what in the name of everything you hold holy happened to the Lakers. So we're definitely going to talk about that. All right. So we can move on, guys, if y'all don't have any other comments on that series. And we can discuss the other Eastern Conference series, which is going to be the Boston Celtics, the number 2 seed, versus the Philadelphia 76ers, the number 3. As we know, Miami knocked out the number 1, and that did cause Budenholzer to get fired. So, we do things a little different this time around. Let's talk about Budenholzer, that situation, and also give us your thoughts on the other Western Conference series. We just ball it all up together and throw it out there. Hit us with it, Con.
Well, something? I was really kind of shocked that Mike Budenholzer got the boot. I mean, they just won the title. They just won a chip 2 years ago. You know what I mean? And the fact that, Giannis was out 2 games. I mean, I don't know what more you can ask? I mean, he was put in a very difficult situation. I don't like the way it was handled. And what's really a bigger problem is what they're going to do in the future, because with the new CBA, that's going to affect them tremendously as how they're going to take care of Middleton and Lopez as well. So that's going to be a major factor. Maybe that has something to do with him getting the boot, but I really feel bad considering. I mean, they won it, like I said, 2 years ago, and they just got rid of him. And if Giannis was healthy, things might have been different. But I think it's not. It's all about what have you done for me lately, and I think he didn't do it for him lately. There was always question about his uh, choice of not calling timeouts, and I think he got out coached, and I think that made a major impact. And I think the team or the ownership said, "Hey, look, we might have to make the move now." And maybe what I'm hearing, which may or may not be true, maybe one of the superstars has something to say with that. Kind of sort of like the Trey Young situation. But that's here nor there. I think it's a bad situation. I don't like the way it was handled. It could have been handled a little bit differently, but yeah, I'm not too cool with that. And as far as the Western Conference, woo, well, you know, it's really a tough call.
So we're still in that Boston. What you call the game right now? Boston and
Oh, okay. Right now, Boston's up
Philadelphia. Yes, sir.
62-53. Okay. Boston's up 64-53 right now. I figured that Philly would have definitely came out a little bit more inspired, given the fact that Embiid received his MVP trophy and the crowd was there and his little son. I figured he would come out. They would come out on fire. But Celtics started off real strong. I think they hit like their first 7 out of like 11 3-point shots. They've been playing very effective. I think they're. I kind of wanted Philadelphia to win, but I think the Celtics they got the bench and they got so many weapons. And then Mr. Williams is playing out of his mind. He's playing like he was like 22 again. And I think the Celtics are going to pull this one out. Tatum's playing a lot better than he did game 2. You got Brown doing his thing. Smart's playing out of his behind. So I think, and then you got Brogdon. I mean, look at the weapons that they have. I think the Celtics have so many weapons that they can go to. I think they're going to be a tough out. So I'm going to go with Celtics in 6.
All right. What about you, Coach Dante?
Now I'm gonna give a comment, a warning, like I always tell Mo and I tell any other body. If you're hurt and you're out there playing, I'm not trying to hear those. I'm not trying to hear none of that you're out there hurt. If you're obviously hurt and you're on the court and you're good enough to go, that's a fair win to me. That's a fair game to me. Yes, he will be limited, but Giannis looked very good in game 6, in game 7, in game 5 to me. He looked very good when he was on the court in game 1, they were getting dominated. And he looked in game number 4. He even looked solid. Even looked solid when he came back. The only thing happened, Mike Budenholzer deserved to get fired. Like I say, under circumstance, he did win the championship 2 years ago, but that's based more on Drew Holiday being the all-world defender that he was in the finals, and based on Giannis having that all-world NBA final. So based on talent, that he won based on the talent, and he won based on Atlanta Hawks. Now we'll give him some due diligence against the Atlanta Hawks. He had 5 All-Stars, and he just ran into a buzzsaw in LeBron James, and that was Atlanta Hawks' best season probably that they ever had. So I will give him some credit on that one. I will give him a little bit of go on that one. But the next 2 years, I can't give him a pass on. He got out coached by definitely a better coach who everybody will consider that's a better coach than him, Erik Spoelstra. And when it comes down to it, when you're going up against the elite coaches, he always finds a way not to make adjustments. But other than that, Giannis was on the floor 3 games, and they got beat down the 3 games that he played. Now, probably 2.5 if you want to count the game 1 that he went out, but they were still, like I mentioned, they were still getting beat, and they were still getting beat when he left out, even though he played 11 minutes in the game. But Miami, at that time, they were the better team, and they deserve to win the series. I mean, Jimmy Butler, you can't double Jimmy Butler if the other guys are shooting 50% from the field. And a lot of people will say, go double Jimmy Butler. Why is you not making an adjustment? When the other guys are shooting 50% from the 3-point line, how can you double them if those guys are hot? Now you're on the island by yourself. The other guys are hot. I got to stay home. Hey, you got to just hope he miss. You got to hope he be cold. We got to bank on him to be cold. Unfortunately, Giannis tried to get on him, couldn't guard him. Middleton tried to get on him, couldn't guard him. Drew Holiday, he was too small for Jimmy Butler. So other than that, Jimmy Butler showed up in the series like he always do in every playoff series he plays. He elevates, he gets on fire, he turns into this raging bull. You know, when you have red up on your behind, that's what he turns into. And you had the greatness of Eric Spoelstra knowing what to do in a 7-game series and having this team coming out ready to play. I think that's what Mike Budenholzer ran into. And you had enough time. With this type of team, when you had 3 years of Drew, you had 2 years of Drew Holiday, multiple years with Giannis to get the job done. He got it done one time, but at the end of the day, I think his time was up. He will find some work, though. He will find some work because of his resume. He will find another job quickly.
Yep. So I'm gonna throw some comments up here, real quick. So Keith says all the coaches that won chips are gone: Mike Budd, Nick Nurse, and Frank Vogel. So we'll talk about Nick Nurse here in a minute as well. I think that that's true. 3 of the last 4 coaches are definitely gone. So that Kerr is obviously the only one that's still around. So this was the comment that coach was referring to from Maurice Power. He says, I don't think Bud should have been fired, but I can understand ownership wanting to change. But that move was about making Giannis happy. No way that happens minus his input. I completely agree. I don't think you can make that type of move unless Giannis is at least okay with it. If Giannis says, no, I want him to stay, you got to keep Bud. So clearly, Giannis was not upset with that move being made, I would say, for it to happen. So John hops back in and says, it's weird to say this, but the 76ers look better as a team without Embiid. And he put as a team in parentheses or quotation marks. Do they rely on Embiid too much and get away from their fundamentals? To answer that question, my answer would be yes, 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 and yes. I don't know if you guys have any different thoughts, but that's my answer. Yes.
They need Joel Embiid to win a title. They need Joel Embiid to win the title. So I definitely agree. They need Joel Embiid to win the title. They need Joel Embiid to win the title. They would not. They're not that good without Joel Embiid. They're not that great without Joel Embiid. They're a playoff team without him, but I don't think they are even close to an Eastern Conference championship team.
Yeah, they have to learn how to play. So here's the thing. For me, with the Sixers, they have to learn when Embiid is not playing, we still need to be able to play at a high level. When he's in the game, we still need to play basketball, right? This happens with some of these teams that have like that great player. He's in the game, everybody just say, oh, it's your game, right? We saw in game 1 that they can find a way to play a different style of basketball without Embiid. It looks more like a team game. I think that can work for them for a game. But I think to win a series, they do need him, but they have to step up. They can't just say Embiid gonna clean it up for us. They got to go out there and ball out. You get NBA paychecks just like he is, right? You getting bonuses when they make it to the second round, third round, all those type of things, conference finals, all that. You're getting the same thing. So we need these other guys on Philadelphia to really show us who they are while Embiid is in the game and playing, and not just when he doesn't. So I definitely agree with John's part. Did you have any thoughts on that, comment?
I agree with John as well. I think in short spurts, it can work because the ball seems to flow a little bit more and they're not relying on Embiid. But as far as, like Coach said, they need to win the championship. And of course, they're going to have Embiid in there. But it seems like the offense flows a little bit more quickly when he's not in there. It seems like, more players that get a little bit more comfortable, it seems. Like when the ball goes inside to Embiid, sometimes it can cause a factor in the way the offense is run. It kind of slows the game down. It's more of a half-court set. And I think the way that they're built right now, they're better for more of a transition type game unless you got, James Harden dribbling 800 times. Other than that, I think without him, again, for short periods of time, I think it'd be very effective. Again, like you said, when he's on the court, they need to know their roles. And when he's not on the court, they need to know their roles. And that becomes with practice. That becomes with pregame. That becomes during in-game, prior to the actual games. You can do a lot of things to prepare when he's in and when he's out. It's called preparation. That's what that's called about.
Yeah, James Harden, they got to realize at this moment, especially at the age of 33, James Harden can no longer be the man in a 7-game series. Yes, he gave you that 45 points, in game one. And I believe that kind of shell shocked Boston a little bit as well. But you look at that game one, again, how many assists did they have? They had 17 assists. So that told you Boston defense was atrocious in that game. They couldn't stop ISO basketball. They basically did most of that without ball movement. And Boston just helped the Sixers win the game as well. There are multiple turnovers down the stretch. The turnover by Brodnick, where they passed up 2 open shots on that same possession. Brodnick threw the ball in the backcourt when if you're going to turn it over on your other end. Don't throw an interception and have it down return to a touchdown by Tyrese Maxey. Don't throw it in the back of the backcourt and not get a shot off. Don't do that. Just turn it over at your own end, make them dribble down the court and have to get a basket. But he did it. But that's more on Boston than Philadelphia. Yes, you do got to give James Harden his flowers. He came out and showed up. D'Anthony Melton also had a solid game in that game one as well. You got to give him some credit. And PJ Tucker, his offensive rebounding. Paul Reed had a double-double in that game. But other than that, James Harden cannot be the man for the whole 7-game series, especially in this downside of his career when he's less athletic, when he's more of a jump shooter. No, they're going to definitely need Embiid to win a championship, and everything is going to have to run through Joel Embiid.
Yep. So Maurice Powell says, Coach, we're on the same page. Butler's numbers went up when Giannis played, and I agree he got a coach who brought up injuries. So, Maurice, I think the injuries weren't specific to your comments, but that's been like a prevailing argument over everywhere that, Giannis was injured and blah, blah, blah. And he was. That's a fact. But at the end of the day, like you were saying here, Bud didn't make any adjustments. And not taking anything away is a great failure. Letting Jimmy and the role players all get off is a coaching and team failure. For me, about Bud, I'll just simply say this. You have to be better at managing your teams moving forward. Wherever you end up, you have to manage your team better. When you realize your star player is not 100%, he's not 75%, he may be 50%. Giannis was out there looking like he should not be on the basketball court. And you kept him out there, which hindered the rest of the team. So you have to learn situationally to say, you know what? I know Giannis is our guy. That's our dog. That's our go-to. That's a man. Right now, he can't give it to us. Come sit over here with me. Put some ice on your back. Put some heat. Maybe we can get a few minutes out of you later if we really need it, but you're not helping right now. And that's what he didn't do. And then also, I think what really got him fired was losing in 5 games. I think if you take that to 6 or 7 games and you lose close games without Giannis, that's one thing. But you kept Giannis out there, and he clearly was at best 50%. He couldn't move like he used to. He couldn't spin. He had no arc at all on any of his shots from the free throw line or anywhere. He was not a threat. You didn't have to build a wall against him, nothing, because his back was bothering him. As a coach, you have to see that. I've coached kids before, but I've coached. When you see a guy out there that's not who they normally are, you have to take them out of the game. You can't allow them to stay in the game and be less than what they are and still want to be the player they are, but they can't. And I think that's what ultimately got him, let go, in my opinion. And then since we're talking about coaches that got let go, we weren't on last week due to, everything that was happening. What are you guys' thoughts, if any, on Nick Nurse and him being let go in Toronto?
My thoughts about that it was time for a change. The team wanted a new voice. It clearly showed frustration and Masai Ujiri in the organization. The players was kind of frustrated. Fred VanVleet, it showed he turned down a contract extension earlier in the year. And it's just a lot of guys. The locker room was kind of divided. But it was just time for a change, especially when you blew that big old lead to the Chicago Bulls. That was the writing on the wall, but I think the writing was on the wall before at that time. So I think it's something move that needs to happen. But like I said again, he's a championship winning head coach. He definitely turned the Toronto Raptors that first year when Kawhi Leonard came into a championship contending team. They had all the talent to win. They had all the talent to make the playoffs, to be 41-41 with this team with a 20-point per game score, and Fred VanVleet, who's proven to be a starter in the league. You look at the man last 3 years. Fred VanVleet has been spectacular, man, averaging 20 points per game, over 20 points per game, and 8 assists per game. This man is on a free agency block, but other than that, he voiced his frustration within the team. OG Anunoby has been in trade talks all throughout the year. It was talking about in trade deadline they were gonna trade him, but I guess they couldn't find anything. This whole organization, this whole team will look different during the regular the next off season, this coming off season. So it was time to make a change. The GM already voiced his frustration. No leadership, no team culture in the locker room, and a lot of the players did not agree with Coach Nick Nurse and how he handled the team and how he handled the squad. So it was about time for this move. And this move, rather if they would have made the playoffs or they would have lost, this was the move that Toronto was going to make. He was out either way it goes. So that brought on frustration all through the year and through the locker room.
Yeah. A couple more questions here. Comments here, and then any thoughts you have. Just want to read through these real quick here. So if we're on coaches, why hasn't Taylor Jenkins been mentioned on possibly being on the hot seat, head coach of Memphis? So Memphis is an up and coming team. I can say this for everybody. Memphis is an up and coming team. He hasn't lost the locker room. There's still an opportunity for him to be the guy to take this team where it needs to go. There's a few more pieces that's needed. So I don't think he's being judged the same, and he is getting this team consistently in the playoffs and got him a good seed this year. The matchup they had did not work out well for them, but they played. So I don't think he's in that same situation as of yet. But there will need to be some, obviously some upward movement with this organization in the next couple of years. And then Maurice says before it was announced, Nurse said it was his last season with the Raptors, so he knew it was a wrap. Yeah, that definitely did happen. But at the same time, if they had somehow found a way to get to the Eastern Conference Finals or to the NBA Finals, I think we would be seeing a different outcome. Just my thoughts, but just my thoughts. And back to you, sir. What thoughts did you have on Nick Nurse?
I guess unless you're like Pop or one of them guys, most coaches do not last because they lose the voice in the locker room. And I think it was just that time. Time runneth over. I think time runneth over with that organization. I think he lost a voice in the locker room. And again, that my major beef, I don't know how y'all feel about this, is when your top players or your star players, and there's so much talk about being traded, what effect does that have on the individual player? I think that makes a major difference. Same thing with with Atlanta with Trae Young and Collins. I think why does it have to be brought out during the season? I think it has a major effect on how they play or how they're being viewed and how they view themselves and what they're worth and what their value is. I think that poses a major problem. But as far as Nurse, like Coach said, hey, he won the chip. They had a good run, but it's that time. I think it's just that time. Time for new blood, maybe new management, maybe maybe new environment as far as the way they play the system, the way their structure is done. Maybe I just need a new change, and I guess the organization felt it was time to go, and it was just time.
Definitely, man. I dig it. Only thing I can say is just echo what you guys have said. So it's not really a need for me to say too much more. I'm surprised he lasted the years he did, even though they won a championship. I think it was kudos to the organization for having the patience because he could have been gone last year. And I don't think anyone would have been surprised. So, it's just one of those situations, like you said. Sometimes you get to that point where you're just not the guy anymore. And just in case I didn't make it clear, I definitely think Boston is going to win the series. Because I think they're just young enough to outrun those guys and get enough wins. But hey, I've been wrong before, and if I'm wrong, it is what it is. We'll move over to the Western Conference. We'll talk about your series down here, John. So be ready to interact, man. Type in your comments and let us know what you're thinking. So we're going to talk about the Golden State Warriors versus the LA Lakers. Man, set us off, man. What you got?
Hit me with this one first, huh? Cool, that's okay. But you know what I'm saying? Hey, I think it's a very intriguing uh, series because you got the two famous, you know, stalwarts. You got LeBron, and then you got Steph. I think that again, as I've been talking about on most of the shows I do, it's about adjustments. And you know, obviously from game one, the Lakers put it out, which they only wanted. Well, they wanted one game. They got the one game, and you knew the Warriors going to come back on fire. I think the Lakers knew that was going to happen. That's why LeBron only played 28 minutes. And the biggest factor, as we all know, and Coach put it out the other day, my man AD, he has one good game, then he goes down, then up, then down, then up, then down. If they can get some consistent play from AD, he got to come out from the get go and take advantage of it. You know, he came on his injury, said, "Well, yeah, I took the same shots that I normally took." He only shot 11 times. That's not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it. And the fact is, Kerr automatically said after the game number one, this is what we're going to do. We're going to run. You want to play 44 minutes? We're going to make you run. We're going to establish the tempo. We're going to make you run, and you're going to get tired. And they came up with that game plan. I didn't expect Clay to shoot the way he did. But I think overall, Golden State, came out because they had that respect. They weren't going to let them go down 0-2, especially at home. And I think they came out with a fire and a fury. And now going back to game 3 in LA, they are saying game 3 is the most crucial game in a series like this. It can tell whether or not a team is going to go through and win the series itself. Game 3 is the most crucial game. So I think whoever wins game 3 is going to end up pulling it out. Hopefully, AD comes to play. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. We don't know. But I think it's going to be a barn burn. I think it's going to be what the people want to see. I think Steph is doing this thing. It's good to see the best ball players doing what they got to do best. I just hope that AD comes to play and has a more of a consistent game throughout the rest of the series. But I'm going to lean towards the Lakers if AD comes to play.
All right, Coach Dante, what are your thoughts, man?
Well, my thoughts on it. I thought game one, AD was the man in game one. I thought D'Angelo Russell stepped up in game one as well. Him and Schroeder. When you get 19 apiece up out of those guys without LeBron James having a very solid game, not so good of a game. Again, Austin Reeves giving you 10 points as well. That shows itself. You got the production, but in every statistical category, you would think the Warriors won that game. They hit 21 threes, which shows you they kind of shot the lights out in that game, and the Lakers still ended up winning that game. But in game 2, the Lakers forgot they had a 8 o'clock ball game. There was a lot of points in that game where you could point out lazy defense for the Lakers. Anthony Davis was late up on screen picking up. You gotta let your opponent know. If you know Steph Curry or Klay Thompson are getting the screen for him, you gotta let your opponent know I'm here. I'm gonna pick up, so that way he can. So that way it can become a switching scenario. But I already know Anthony Davis was trying to do a lot of lazy hedging. He did not want a mismatch. You do not never want to see a big kind of switch up on the guard. But you got to let your opponent know in certain situations, hey, I'm here, I'm picking up. So therefore, when the screen is set, he wants to jump out lazy and put a weak hand up. When you already know Klay Thompson and Steph Curry got a great look at the basket. And that's got to be an immediate pickup because once they catch you lacking, they're going to shoot it. And that's what happened. And I thought the lineup gave the Lakers a lot of problems. JaMychal Green sitting in the corner without a contest, anybody walking up and trying to contest. I thought that hurt him. I thought Draymond Green physicality on Anthony Davis kind of made Anthony Davis come up out of rhythm and forced him to shoot a lot of jump shots that he's capable of hitting them. But if there's anything, you want Anthony Davis shooting those jump shots. You will take a turnaround J from him at any type of day. And I thought Draymond Green did a hell of a job on him all night, defending him, making him turn into a jump shooter and making him less aggressive that he was. And I thought that was the key to to that ball game. But Klay Thompson continues to step up when it matters the most. He may not step up for the first two games of any type of series, but you better believe you better watch out of him on game 5 or game 6 or game 7. He bound to show up in one of those games. So I got Golden State in 7 games. But for the key for the Lakers, Anthony Davis has to be the guy. Anthony Davis, that's what he was brought in for, to take a lot of pressure off LeBron James' shoulder. You're not going to get the same excuses having a bad game if you're then LeBron James will. LeBron James can take a day off, can take a night off, and he will get an excuse. But if you take a night off, you're gonna get killed in the media. That's what most people are gonna look at for Anthony Davis. He's gonna be the one to get killed because he was brought in to help LeBron James. As most LeBron James has done for this team and for what he done to any other team in his career, the resume that he has, that he doesn't have, he didn't have most of the teammates that he had in Cleveland. He was able to get a pass, and to this day, he still can get a pass. But Anthony Davis, his career in New Orleans, yes, he was great, but he wasn't good enough. The team wasn't in the playoffs most of his years. He helped them win a championship in the bubble because he was one of the main guys. But this year, he has to get the job done. He cannot have another night off like he had. He will get killed in the media if he doesn't show up in this series, and LeBron James will get a pass because you're expecting more from Anthony Davis. But other than that, the Warriors, the Lakers got to do more defending, man. They got LeBron James a lot of times in that game. He was ball watching hell of a lot too. He was ball watching hell of a lot. So again, give credit to the Warriors. Moses Moody chipped in, got some good minutes off the bench for the Warriors. The Warriors, it was a different Warriors team in that game too. They came in and did what they supposed to do because they knew they couldn't go back to LA to 0-2. So other than that, I got to give credit to Draymond Green because he kept Anthony Davis quiet, and Anthony Davis was real uncomfortable out there.
Definitely. So I'm gonna read a couple of comments here. Y'all have covered a lot of the points. I'm just gonna read a couple of comments here real quick. So John says, "No, the Lakers forgot the ball has to go in the hoop. They were trying to build a house with all those just thrown up balls." Not wrong there from what I saw. So Maurice Powell says, riding with the Lakers, but making Steph the primary ball handler, along with playing smaller, space the floor, and made both AD and Bron actually have to guard somebody. Bottom line, the series will be decided by which AD you see from game to game. I think that I agree with that. And then also, John says, Lakers lost the defensive rebounds. True. Hustle, grit. Those are the type of things. Those are the plays that the winner of this series is going to have to make. This is a very tight series as well. I am also picking Golden State in 7, but I would not be surprised if the Lakers win. I think this is real. This is another one of those maybe 55-45, something like that, but it's still close. Just because the series is really dependent upon 2 players, Klay and AD. If we get the Klay from last night more than we get the AD from game 1, then Golden State is going to win this series. If we get it even, it's going to be real tight. If we get more from LA, then LA is going to win this series. We've seen a resurgence with the Lakers, with the guys that they have playing, the trades that they made. They climbed up the rankings. They've shown some heart, grit, determination. But you're playing the champs. And I know they don't want to go out now, but one of these 2 teams is going to have to take an L. But they're going to fight to the end. I'm expecting 7 games either way. It's going to be exciting to watch. We're going to see a lot of momentum switches between this, man. I'm excited. And I just want to make sure that we get the good series that we should out of this, and we get Steph versus LeBron. Obviously, they're not guarding each other, but those are the 2 guys. One other quick point. It is hard to stop a guy who will pull up from almost half court and sink a 3 in your face at any given time. Right. You leave him open for 5 seconds, it's a wrap. So it's going to take a lot of discipline, a lot of different guys playing defense on AD. I think Schroeder needs to do that more because he does have the speed to keep up with him. I know we could talk about size, and I was on another show with a Lakers fan who was saying, oh, well, he doesn't have the size and blah, blah, blah. But let me tell you something right now. It doesn't matter how big you are if you're wide open. If you can't keep up with him, it doesn't matter how big you are. Schroeder's a capable defender. He's going to have to get into him some. They have to throw different looks at Steph, see what's working on a given night. But doubling them, I wouldn't do, because as we learned from what Milwaukee tried to do, doubling one guy just gives somebody else an opportunity to be open. that never works out well. So I mean, like I said, it's going to be a tight series. It's going to be very well contested on both sides, but we'll see how things play out. I do think the Lakers were happy just to get one game in San Francisco and didn't really focus on game two. Could come back to bite them, but we won't know until the end of the series. All right, guys. So we got one more series to cover here, and for this series, we've got the Denver Nuggets against the
we know about that.
yes sir against the Phoenix Suns. For me, I'm gonna go first in this one if y'all don't mind. For me,
Go ahead.
I love what Jokic is doing. I love Murray, even though game two wasn't the same offensively. The other things he does, pushing the ball, getting the ball to correct people, saying tonight's not my night shooting the ball, but I can still help the offense by getting some buckets when it's needed, facilitating the ball, being that primary ball handler, taking that responsibility off Jokic, letting him focus on being the scorer for this night, facilitate, be a leader, pull my guys to the side, talk to him, and affect the game in other ways, play better defense. Those are the things I saw from Jamal Murray, and that's what I was concerned with because that's the guy he was before the injury. But it's taken a while, and it's been a long trip for him, and I get it, to get back to that mind state as well as physically being able to do everything he could do before. So love seeing him in that role. Michael Porter Jr. is another guy like Anthony Davis, and Devin Booker is the other guy in this series. Those are the two guys that you want to see what they're going to put up consistently because those are the two guys that do not come consistently and bring it. Definitely a much deeper bench for Denver, more guys we go to. The only difference is Phoenix traded away a lot of those guys to get Kevin Durant. So is he the difference maker? Can he make up for what two or three people do? I don't believe so. I said it all along. Continue to say it. Denver in 6.
Well, like I say, I wouldn't be surprised if the series don't go back to Denver. Don't go back to Denver at all. Maybe you get that pride game with Phoenix up in game number 4. But to me, from what I'm seeing it now, I don't think this Phoenix team is good enough to go 6 from what I'm looking right now. Because you got to have Kevin Durant out there seem like the whole goddamn ball game. You had him out there 45 minutes last game. You had Devin Booker out there 44 minutes last game. Now Chris Paul gets hurt. Gets hurt. Now you got to depend on a Cameron Payne or a Landry Shamet, someone that you threw in the rotation instead of Cameron Payne being in the rotation all year. Now you got to throw in either one of them. Now your bench is weakened. You don't play TJ Warren, who you got in the trade, who you had to get in the trade. You don't play Terrence Ross, who's a veteran in the league. You don't play him at all. So you play Ish Wainwright when you want to play him. So the guys don't know if they're going to play or not. And it seemed like the guys are unprepared to play basketball when they do get on the court. Not to mention Damian Lee. Damian Lee was playing earlier this year. All of a sudden, he's up out of the rotation. 26 minutes, and I give you a point. In 26 minutes, I can go out there and give you 2 points in 30 minutes. But Damian Lee can't give you 2 points in 26 minutes. But other than that, you got Landry Shamet, who you put in the rotation for Cameron Payne. He only gives you 2 points. So other than that, the bench is atrocious. The starters got to play multiple minutes. Josh Okogie is nothing but a defensive player at best. Denver is leaving him open. But Denver, other than that, they got Christian Braun come off the bench. He doesn't score a lot, but he plays hard on the defensive side of the ball. And you got one of my favorite players in the league who I love watching every single night for Denver, Bruce Brown. 3-point shooting, defense, plays hard, can guard the best player on the floor. Aaron Gordon is rejuvenating his career.
Jeff Green.
Not being that number one guy what he was in Orlando. You got Grandpa Jeff Green putting on the bunnies out there and posterizing guys. You're getting an all-around team effort for these Denver Nuggets. But other than that, to me, Jamal Murray did not have a bad game. He had a bad shooting game the last game. He had a bad shooting game. Everything else, I thought he did really good, but he just had a bad shooting game. That's all. It did not mean he had a bad game. And most of the shots was wide open, shots that he could actually hit, tough shots that he can actually hit, and most of the shots were comfortable wide open. He just had a bad shooting game. But other than that, Jokic just took over. KCP hit two big threes down the middle, down the stretch. But other than that, this game doesn't look like it's going to go back to Denver because the lack of depth that the Phoenix Suns have traded away to get Kevin Durant. And again, yes, you can only say he had 16 games in the books, but you're not trying to hear that. You're not trying to hear that excuse at all. You will put there to be the final piece to the puzzle to this team, and it's not gonna get done. And now you got to start over next year with a full season when everybody can get better over and over. You're still gonna have Golden State there. You're still gonna have that Denver Nuggets team there. If Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, you better thank God. You better hope and pray they don't be healthy. They don't.
Paul George, Paul George could play now. He just unfortunately
yes
couldn't play in that series.
They don't play for a full season, especially a whole playoffs. That may not work out good. But other than that, I mean, I don't think this game going back to Denver. I don't think this series may be going back to Denver. The way I'm looking at it,
I would not be upset, sir. I would not be upset.
Coach just took damn near all the words out of my mouth. I really don't have much to offer. Only thing I'm going to say is when you make a trade like that, at the time that they made the trade, given the fact that he only had 16 games and he injures himself doing a layup line, I just feel that, they made look how much they gave up. They have no bench. Look how much they gave up. And now it's coming back to haunt them. And then you got my man, Chris Paul, who every year for the last 10 years, he hurt his nose, his ear, his eye. He's telling something about his body every time. I feel so bad for him, but, he's 37 years old now, I think, 37, 38. And he just gets these injuries. But right now, I think Denver, and Cool, you called it about 2-3 months ago, you called it. And Denver's tough. Denver is tough. They might not be the most exciting team to watch, but they're the most effective. And as I stated before, when you come into playoffs, a lot of times it comes down to how you do in your half-court set. And Denver, case closed. You got the big man who passes like Magic Johnson. I mean, they got the perimeter shooting. They got the depth. They got the bench. I mean, they got everything going. I think whoever comes out of the Lakers Warriors is going to have a hard time with Denver. Although I am going to disagree with Coach tonight. I think Phoenix will win tonight. They're favored by 60. Not that matters that much, but I think they got to show some pride as well. I think they're going to come out and give their all. I think deep down inside they know they ain't going to win, but I think they're going to give it their all, come out with a fight. I know you're mad at me, Cool, but that's okay. I think they're going to win tonight.
Hey, they can lose a game. It's fine with me. I'm saying I'll get better about that. But hey, we got a couple of comments here, so go read these out real quick. So we have Maurice Power with great show, guys. Keep sharing the knowledge. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Can't do it without Coach Dante and Khan, man, because gotta get the perspectives. Gotta get them. All right, and then we got John Suggs who says other Western series, Denver because of Joker and a deep bench. On the cloudy skies, I mean Suns, you only have Booker, Ayton, and KD basically. I like the cloudy skies. I can get with that.
Ayton played like a soft pony, though. He plays like a soft pony.
Somebody talked about that weeks ago, that's what was going to happen.
He plays like a soft pony.
Names. Somebody talked about that. Did John also says Suns need Payne to go out huge every night and speed up the game if they're going to have a chance. Yeah, you got to put Payne, I think, in the starting lineup, which completely destroys their bench.
Yes,
you got to put him in the starting lineup, which I'm fine with that. Then, all right. And then Maurice comes back and says, "I had Denver in 6 before CP3 went down. Now it's looking 5, and their lack of depth is killing them. Plus, Denver's making KD play in a crowd, which he hates. Plus, on the other end, Gordon is bully balling KD. Yep. And I see that. I know that y'all saw that one and didn't talk about that because you're not going to read the comment. But I definitely was going to come back and circle to that. But yeah, you're right, Maurice. And then he also says if the Lakers beat the Warriors, they're going to the finals. So I'm going to push back on that one extremely because, well, it depends. If you mean they're going to the Western Conference Finals, then you would be correct. But let's not forget, we're just here talking about AD in his lack of being consistent.
Hmm.
Joker is consistent. So if you can have one guy show up 4 times, 3 times maybe, and one guy's gonna show up 7 times, um, I don't know about you,
Right.
but I'm gonna put my money on the 7 times.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You know,
Got to.
you got to. I mean, it's chinks in different teams. I'm not saying the Nuggets are perfect because Khan said something I was also gonna swing back around and saying the games ain't always pretty. Sometimes they're hard to watch, but they are good, sound, fundamental basketball games, and sometimes it is hard to watch. But yeah, a lot of good points I think we made here. Appreciate all the people that were in the chat with us tonight, man. Just checking everything out. We know that Denver game's going to be starting up here in a couple of minutes. So I'll just go around if you guys have any final thoughts, and if you want to let everybody know where they can catch you at. Also, we can definitely do that. I'll just start by saying, hey, Sports Empire Network, so many great shows. Make sure you're checking us out. It's a lot going on, a lot of nice quality entertainment shows out there that we have all about sports. So, hey, check us out. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. If you're checking us out on Facebook, make sure you go over to the YouTube page. You just type in Sports Empire Network or youtube.com// that Sports Empire Network. We're there. We're getting it in. I've also got several other projects, but we can talk about those on another day. Comment.
Well, again, I want to thank you guys for inviting me on Drop the Key. I enjoy hanging out with you guys. I think we do a pretty damn good job, and looking forward to the future. As far as where people can catch me, I'm on Thursday evenings, 8 p.m. on Sports Corner with the Corn Man. Uh, us three, by the way, with a couple other guys, we're going to be doing a sports roundtable in a couple of weeks. That's going to be the bomb. I can't look forward to that. And also, I got a couple of guests coming on. Y'all might have heard of his name. His name is called Nate Archibald. I hope y'all can come on and check that out. But anyway, you can check me out Thursday evenings, 8 p.m. live. And that's about, and then coming on here with you on Friday nights. And that's about what I do. Oh, and also watching my man Coach every damn night on every goddamn show he does.
Yeah, I was about to say we gotta let Coach go last because Coach got a laundry list.
Yeah, he'll be about 2 hours, man. Go ahead, Coach.
Man, like I said, that's what I do, man. Like I say, thank y'all for having me a part of this great team. Gotta definitely shout out to Freddie for having me a part, been good friends with him since I met him, and Cool McCain, Carman, But y'all can find me here on the Empire Sports Network. Y'all can also find me on my channel at Coach Dante. Y'all will find me in Desmond tonight with the Denver Nuggets game 3 and the Phoenix Sun. Desmond also a resident Denver fan, a Denver Nugget fan as well. So at the end of the day, man, like I say, y'all can find me all over the Empire Sports Network in 7200 seconds with me and Key, and also the morning show with me, Mo and Des, and whoever else come up. So y'all can find me just everywhere, man.
For sure. He ain't kidding about that everywhere. So Michael says, as usual, great information tonight. Appreciate it, Michael. And
Mike,
then
my
Josh
man.
hits us with one last. AD won't make it through the series without a foot injury. You wrong, Josh. You wrong for that, man. But yeah, man. I mean, hey, another great week. Another show knocked out the park. It's hard to not do it with these two guys carrying me. So we'll see y'all next week. Same bat time, same station. Let's go.